This episode is brought to you by Iams Pet Food. When you choose Iams dry dog or cat food, you can see a difference in your pet with your own eyes. Healthy energy in 5 days, healthy digestion in 10 days, and healthy skin and coat in just 25 days. Satisfaction for you and them. Guaranteed or your money back. Feed Iams dry dog or cat food and see a visible difference. Visit iams.com/difference to learn more.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file. Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, and I'm Dr. Neil Malik. Hey there, happy Friday, and welcome to another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I answer your health questions related to fitness, diet and nutrition, and more. You send in the questions, and I answer them for you. And if you're in the U.S. and send a relevant question in, we'll visit the post office and personally mail you a physical copy of the Optimal Living Daily Workbook, as long as we have copies left. Or if you're outside of the US, we'll email you a digital copy. I'll tell you how to send a question in at the end, but for now, let's hear today's question as we optimize your life. Today's question came via email. Carol writes, "Hello, I heard on the podcast to check for USP or NSF certifications on supplement packaging. I have a magnesium supplement with a GMP certification. Does this certification cover the same quality standards? Also, some recent research about fish oil supplements may bring on a new heart problem, such as atrial fibrillation, or increase the likelihood of having a stroke. Have you seen research on this? It just seems nutritional research is very difficult to check validity and causation. Your podcast is great." Thank you for taking the time to send in your questions, Carol, and I'm so glad you find the podcast helpful. Let's start by talking about certifications that you might see on supplement packaging. This is so important because in the US, the supplement industry is not very well regulated. So we can't assume that the products we see on the shelves at our local drugstore are safe. One study found that 15% of protein supplements sold contain banned substances like amphetamines, street name speed, along with anabolic steroids. Other studies have found that some supplements may not even contain the ingredients listed on the label. So we may think we're buying a supplement with very specific ingredients, but in fact, we're getting something else entirely. So to help guard against this from happening to us, I've recommended we look for certain symbols on a supplement's packaging. If we find these symbols on the product's packaging, that means it's gone through quality and purity testing. So, who tests these supplements for quality and purity in the first place? The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is supposed to check for quality and purity, but that doesn't always happen. So, companies that are not affiliated with the Food and Drug Administration may end up testing the supplement for quality and purity. And so I've called these independent companies or independent third-party companies, meaning they're not affiliated with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The two most well-established organizations are United States Pharmacopoeia, or USP, and the National Sciences Foundation, or NSF. So I've often recommended we look for a USP or NSF symbol on a supplement's packaging to make sure that it's been tested for quality and purity before we buy it. Now, something I have not mentioned before is this other certification that you were asking about, Carol, the one that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration created themselves. And this is the one called GMP. The full abbreviation is CGMP, which stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practice. This certification is given to medicines or supplements. So companies that produce medicines or supplements may be given this CGMP or GMP certification. And to receive it, here's what the company has to prove. Their operating procedures are sound, that they have ways to monitor how their medicines and supplements are manufactured, that they have an established system for finding issues with products they manufactured that don't meet established quality standards, and that the lab does this testing for quality standards using reliable methods. So, what happens if a company does not have GMP certification? Does that now mean the medicine or supplement they produce does not meet quality and purity standards? No. The medicines or supplements they produce may be just fine. We just don't know for sure. So where does that leave us? Let's think of it this way. The more certifications we find on a supplement's packaging, the better. It gives us, the consumer, extra confidence that the product is likely free of impurities and actually contains the ingredients in the right dose that we would expect. So now on to your other question, Carol. The issue of fish oil supplements and the possible increased risk for conditions like atrial fibrillation or having a stroke. Fish oil supplements are often referred to as omega-3 supplements. And these fish oil or omega-3 supplements are often recommended by doctors and dietitians because of their ability to lower disease risk. Omega-3 supplements have been found, in fact, to reduce inflammation in the body. And we're finding that chronic systemic inflammation, meaning the body is under stress for long periods of time, can damage the cells from head to toe. So, by consuming foods or supplements with omega-3s, we're potentially reducing stress throughout the body. So, if omega-3 supplements or fish oil supplements are supposedly good for us, why might they lead to an increased risk of other conditions like atrial fibrillation and stroke? Atrial fibrillation, by the way, is a condition where the heart no longer beats at a regular rhythm, and usually it's beating much too quickly. Those with atrial fibrillation may in fact feel like their heart is pounding out of their chest, and as a result may experience lightheadedness or feel short of breath. Having atrial fibrillation can also increase the risk of having a stroke. Now, a stroke is where the brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs to function, so it starts to die. And you're right, Carol, supplementing with omega-3s can increase the risk for both atrial fibrillation and stroke. But here's the catch. These results were often found when people supplemented with megadose versions of omega-3s. So if someone were taking a dose of 2 grams or more of omega-3 every day, then this might increase their risk of developing atrial fibrillation or for having a stroke. So that's where our healthcare providers can help us know whether an omega-3 supplement is right for us, and if so, the correct dose. Now to your last observation. How can we get around the fact that at times, nutrition-related research seems to be difficult to trust? And I know it's frustrating. I deal with it constantly. In fact, I've shared my own frustrations with the fact that one day it seems like we'll hear how a nutrient or food is good for us, and the very next day, a study will seem to come out saying the exact opposite. Now, to be clear, this is not unique to nutrition-related research, but most human-based research in general. There is something I recommend we do, though, to help make sense of this conflicting research. Look for published meta-analyses. Meta-analyses are giant studies that summarize the results of research performed on the same topic. So, I looked for a published meta-analysis that looked at omega-3s and atrial fibrillation, and sure enough, I found one. The advantage of looking at the results of a meta-analysis is that it often takes into account this conflicting information, and then provides us with an actual conclusion on how best to interpret this conflicting information. So, please don't give up on nutrition-related research, Carol. When you're hiring, it feels amazing to finally close out a job search. But what if you could get rid of the search and just match? You can with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it filters out incompatible applicants. So when you're hiring, the process is much faster, and you only have to consider applicants that are already likely to be a great fit. And listeners of this show, will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Is it time to reimagine your future? The right business skills may make a difference in your career. At Capella University, we offer a relevant education that's designed to focus on what you need to know in the business world. We'll teach professional skills to help you pursue your goals, like business management, strategic planning, and effective communication. And you can apply these skills right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
And thank you again for taking the time to send in your question. Now, if you want to send in a question to be answered right here on the show, plus get a copy of the Optimal Living Daily Workbook, you can email a question to health@oldpodcast.com. Or if you want to hear your own voice on the podcast, just come by oldpodcast.com/ask. Right on that page, you can record straight from your computer's microphone. It's really easy, and you can even play back your message and do retakes before sending it in. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call in your question. The number is 1-61-I-LOVE-OHD. That's 1-614-568-3643. Thank you so much for doing that. Answering your questions is my favorite part of the show. And with that, that'll do it for another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening every day and all the way through. I hope you have a great start to your weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.